These are the captions that we're going to recreate in this video. I've taken this clip from a podcast from Chris Williamson. You can find it in the description with all the assets and the presets used in this video. To make these captions, we'll use Premiere Pro and After Effects, but we'll use 0 plugins. So let's go ahead and get started. We are now onto Premiere Pro. I've already edited my A-roll, the music, and all of that stuff. So the first thing that I'll do is I'll go on the text panel and click on Create Captions from Transcript. If you can't find this, you can find this in the window under text. Once I'm here, what I'll do is I will drag the maximum length of characters to 15, the minimum duration in seconds to the minimum, and the lines to single. So you go ahead and create on click transcribe and create captions. Once the captions are done, what we'll do is we'll start customizing them a bit. First, we'll put them in the center. Secondly, we'll change the font to a font similar to the one that Bolt uses, which is Lemon Milk Bold. Then we'll remove the drop shadow because we will add it later in After Effects. And here we'll go ahead and modify this to -800. This is extremely important. If you don't do this, your captions will not be centered later in After Effects. Once we have done this, we'll go on the caption tab right here and we'll search for commas and we'll replace them. And we'll search for periods and we'll replace them so that we have no punctuation on our captions. Once you have done this, we'll go over and correct all of the typos in the captions. Perfect, I've removed all of the typos, and now what we need to do is go ahead and color the captions. To do that, I've created a graphic layer, which as you can see contains 4 shapes. The reason I did that is because now I can zoom into the player panel by using Alt and the scroll wheel, and what I can do is go ahead and highlight certain parts of my text layer and color them of the color that I want. So I'll just keep doing this for all of the text layers. I'll make love the light blue. I'll make magic orange. I can make work yellow.
There's a quote that I've fallen in love with. The magic you are looking for is in the work you're avoiding. Every single time.
Now I've colored all of my captions, so I can simply delete this graphic layer. And now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and highlight all of the captions and I'll upgrade them to graphic layers. This allows me to do 2 things. First one is animate them and the second one is bring them into After Effects. So the first thing that I'll do is I'll animate these captions. Now what we want to do to animate these captions is go right here and look for the transform effect and drag it on top of our layer. Then I'll go ahead and modify the scale property to create a zoom in effect. So I'll go at the start, put it at 85, hit a keyframe and go around 6 frames forward, and I'll put this back to 100. And as you can see, it creates this zoom in as we go forward. However, what I want to do is go on the animation graph and make this look smoother so that it zooms a lot at the start and it slows the zoom as it goes further. As you can see, it goes fast at the start and slows towards the end, which makes the animation way smoother. Once you've done this, you can copy this with Ctrl+C and paste it on top of all of the captions, which will create this zoom in effect on all of the captions, as you can see. Not only that, you can also go ahead and save this as a preset. Make sure to anchor it to the in point. You can name this, for example, to Bolt Captions. And now every time you're looking here for the Bolt Captions, you're going to find it. So if I now remove my current animation from the caption, next time I'm making a video like this, I can just highlight all of the captions, drag the BoltMotivaion preset on top, and as you can see, I will have my perfect animation ready with one click. Once I've done this, it's time for After Effects. So what you do is you highlight everything and you click on Ctrl+C to copy it. Then you're going to create a new After Effects composition. And I'll use this preset, which is Social Media Portrait 1080 by 1920 with 30 frames per second. Set a duration that you like and then click OK. Once you have done this, make sure you're in your timeline right here and click Ctrl+V to paste everything that we had in Premiere Pro. And as you can see, we have our caption and our A-roll. What we'll do is we'll click on the first caption and by holding Shift, we'll click on the last caption. And now we'll go ahead and click on pre-compose so that, as you can see, we have all of our captions into one layer. As you can see, they're still zooming in. And now what we want to do is go ahead and drag in an effect called wave warp. As you can see, we'll drag this on top and we will modify some settings. So the first one will be the wave height is going to be 2, the wave width is going to be 550, and the rest will leave on default. And as you can see now, there is this wave effect which is happening to our captions. As you can see, they're moving slowly up and down, which is perfect. And now it's time to add the kind of morphing effect that you see on the captions. To do that, what we'll need to do is go ahead and pre-compose and make sure to click on Move All Attributes into New Composition. Click OK. So now it's time to add the motion blur, and we'll do this by using the pixel motion blur. I've seen people do it with Twixtor as well. However, Twixtor is a paid service, that's why we'll use pixel motion blur. So the first thing that we'll modify here is the shutter angle to 120, which means that the captions are going to be more blurry, as you can see. And then we'll modify shutter samples to around 20, which is going to make it, as you can see, closer. Before it wasn't that close. And as you can see, the captions are slowly morphing into each other. However, one pixel motion blur is not enough. So what we need to do is go ahead and add multiple pixel motion blurs. So you're going to go ahead and click Ctrl C to copy it. So what you'll go ahead and do is you're going to pre-compose this once again and then paste the effect. So what you'll do is you'll pre-compose and paste the effect for the second time. And then you'll do it for the third time, for the fourth time, and for the fifth time, and you'll pre-compose them once again. And as you can see, there is way more motion blur right now, which is perfect, exactly what we want. Now, what I suggest to do is go on the first frame and hit play until After Effects renders that frame, because right now your After Effects is going to be super slow and it's going to take a lot of time to render this, because there are 5 pixel motion blurs stacked on top of each other. So now we have our motion blur. Let's go ahead and add our customizations. So the first effect that we'll add is Bevel Alpha. As you can see, the caption's a bit blocky. I usually put this to around 3.5, and as you can see, it creates this blocky effect. And now it's time for the drop shadow. Drop shadow, I'll look for it and I'll drag it on top. I will leave the opacity on 50, I'll put the distance on 8 and put the softness to 2. Keep in mind that you can play with these settings as much as you want. Just try and find what fits you. So what I'll do now is I'll go ahead and click on the drop shadow and click on Ctrl D to duplicate it. Now it's time to add the glow. So you go ahead and look for glow and drag it on top. I've seen people create a really good effect with deep glow. However, deep glow is a paid effect. So what we'll do is we'll recreate a similar effect to deep glow, but it's going to be with the effect given by After Effects itself. So the first glow effect that we're going to use is going to have a 20 glow radius and a glow intensity of 1. Then we'll go ahead and click Ctrl D to duplicate this, and this time we'll modify this to 100 and decrease this to 0.5. And then I'll go ahead and duplicate this and modify this to 200 and modify this to 0.2. And as you can see, if I zoom out, this is what we have. So this is how the captions look like. As you can see, they are super smooth. The zoom, the glow, the motion blur, everything's perfect. Now, before ending this video, I'll show you how this short would look like if I applied all of the things that BoltMotivaion does in his videos, which means color correction, transitions, zoom ins, sound design, etc, etc.
There's a quote that I've fallen in love with. The magic you are looking for is in the work you're avoiding. Every single time I feel like things aren't coming my way sufficiently quickly, it's because I'm thinking about over here and there is a large frog in front of me that I need to eat.
If you want a full breakdown on this style, comment full breakdown and I'll make it for you.
There's a quote that I've fallen in love with. The magic you are looking for is in the work you're avoiding. Every single time I feel like things aren't coming my way sufficiently quickly, it's because I'm thinking about over here and there is a large frog in front of me that I need to eat.